Welcome to Life Esteem, a program committed to delivering information that's important to you and your community.
Hello and welcome again to Life Esteem. Always great to have you as a viewer. And today we're so happy to have my brother, Nathan Lee Gadsden, who's a filmmaker, writer, producer on the show. And Nathan is the author of Darkness of Despair, author and director, I should say.
Yes.
Of Darkness of Despair, which was a movie. I'm going to hold this little flyer up so everybody can see it, which was a movie that was premiered at the Midtown Scholar Cinema. Back on, when was that date?
Midtown Cinema back on May 4th.
Okay, that's the
this
Midtown
year.
Scholar Cinema, Midtown Cinema, yeah.
May 4th
I always
of
get
this
those
year.
mixed up, but it was a great movie. I enjoyed it. So tell us about the movie and what the movie's about.
Okay, well, Darkness of Despair is about a woman who, she's a housewife on her second marriage, and she's suffering from depression. And one of the issues that she's dealing with is trying to make peace between her daughter from her first marriage and her second husband.
Okay. Yeah.
So the film deals with some mental health issues and some other issues.
Okay. And you use local talent?
Yes, it was all local talent right from the Harrisburg area. We casted it. We have 6 cast members and one from York County, actually. But all right here in central Pennsylvania around Harrisburg.
You want to give us their names and tell us a little bit about who they were?
Okay. If I miss anyone, they'll be sure to call in.
Yeah.
But don't call in.
Yeah.
Joy Hyman, who plays the lead role of Lucretia. Sierra Spencer, who plays the role of Ronnie, her daughter. And then we have Michael McCrae Jr., who plays Lucretia's husband, Jermaine. In the role of I was going to say the name, Camellia Rich is Chantel Motes from Harrisburg. And then we have two names that people who use only one name. Okay. Sincere, who is a local musician, a fine singer, plays the role of Ronnie's boyfriend, the daughter's boyfriend. Or ex-boyfriend, and then playing the role of Nathan Gore, a mysterious friend, is Jones, an actor from York County.
Just goes by Jones.
He just goes by the name Jones.
That's cool stuff. That's cool stuff. Yeah.
Now, were you in it as well?
Oh no, no. Okay. I did. My voice appeared, as they say. No, I did the voiceover of the father of the daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We only hear by telephone.
Yeah, you only hear by telephone. Because you actually, you know, if you sit here and think about it, I saw it twice actually. And but you were in it, but you weren't in it because you were strictly on the phone.
I was strictly on the phone, so I was in it, but I wasn't in it.
But there was also another significant voice in that movie. Who was that?
The narrator was played by my wife, Deb Gadsden. The story is narrated by the daughter years later, so she's looking back over what happened in those 2 days in their life.
Yeah.
Are you going to air this again and here in the
yes.
future?
I just finished, in fact, finalized. I don't want to give out the date yet, but it will be this summer.
Okay.
But I'm partnering with the Harrisburg Christian Performing Arts Center. To air it, and we'll do another question and answer, and it will be there at the Eisenhower Boulevard address. Look for advertisement about it, and we'll do another question and answer about some of the issues involved in the film.
So I know you're a writer, and you have put on some really good plays, by the way. I've enjoyed them. What's some of the other plays that you've produced?
Let's see, The Wrong Hes Done, which I produced some years ago. And I also brought it to Harrisburg. I produced original Lancaster. I brought it to Harrisburg, and I had Reggie Ballard was in the show, better known as Broaden from the Fifth Flow from Martin. Things Not Seen, Cool Bobby Bailey's Coming Home for Christmas, Redemptive Goodwill, which I also turned into a short film. Shake Shop, which is my musical that I produced first in 2011, and then again in 2012. Now we revamped it, and look for that next year. The deal is already in the works. Next April 2018, we're bringing Shake Shop, an original musical, to the Harrisburg Christian Performing Arts Center.
Great.
Are you?
Great.
I thoroughly enjoyed all of those, but that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
well
Thank you.
done.
And those who act and sing out there will want to know that we're opening auditions.
Oh, wonderful.
So we're going to be auditioning sometime in January, and hopefully that's the kickoff to really tour the show this time.
Well, let me ask you, because both of you brothers are both writers, aspiring writers and all, and you was a poet as well. You did a lot of poetry. What made you get into plays? How did you make that shift over in screenwriting and then putting it on film? How did that all come about for you?
Well, as you said, we we're rooted in poetry,
right?
From a young age. I was always fascinated with television, and I try to watch as much TV as possible. And and it was that idea that you hear about kids, you shouldn't watch too much TV. But I was watching television for a different reason. I just always liked how they put stories together. Yeah. And I've always had a love for literature, and I guess that's why I taught it for a while. But I was always fascinated by putting stories together. And whereas in poetry, you can tell stories in poetry, but I wanted to move to something more visual. And that's when I started getting involved with stage plays. I did act myself back in the 70s and the 80s in community theater around here and other places. But that's what got me in the stage productions. And actually, I directed a production of A Raisin in the Sun back in 2010.
I remember, yeah.
Right, in Lancaster and then in Harrisburg. And I was sitting around and trying to think of another play. I was looking at some of the great plays from the Harlem Renaissance and other places, thinking about another one to do, scratching my head. And my wife Deb said to me, well, when are you going to do your stuff?
Okay.
All right. She actually did. When are you going to do your stuff? And that was it. And then I finally, to fully answer your question, I finally got to the point where I said, I'm ready to do film.
All right.
I think I'm going to do film. And it was interesting because the first one I did, as I said, Redemptive Goodwill, which was a short film. When I watched it, I said, this very much looks like a play. So I had to shift because there are some differences in how you stage them.
Yeah.
So.
What about Hamilton Street?
Oh boy.
Tell about that.
Yeah.
Wow. When you talk about, I guess that the first thing that we did on film actually was Hamilton Street web series back in 2012. Yeah. When Michael Giovanni, really talented guy, actor and involved in the community here in Harrisburg. Mike approached me, and we co-produced the web series. So that was actually the first thing that we did.
I was going to say, yeah.
Co-produced a web series, and I directed that also, Hamilton Street.
And the significance of Hamilton Street is we grew up on Hamilton Street.
That's
part of our childhood.
Yeah, where did you get the name from? So we grew up on Hamilton Street.
That's right. Yeah.
And we actually shot scenes somewhere right there at 6 in Hamilton. And of course, we grew up at 633 Hamilton Street.
633 Hamilton Street. I want to get back to this movie, which I thought was, like I said, very well done, Darkness of Despair. And your wife is a social worker. Yes. And also you are, you have your master's in English, this kind of thing. But there was a reason why you came up with this here, and then you had intricate involvement of different characters. It wasn't like just one person was dealing with it. They were all, tell me why the concept and what did you glean out of after putting all this work together, about the subject matter? Because I already approached you about using this particular film for a chaplain's training program.
Yes, yeah.
So.
And as a matter of fact, I'm glad you mentioned it because it was in retrospect. Well, first let me answer your question about how the film came about. Everything that happens in the work that I do, whether it's on stage and film, isn't necessarily what's happened to me personally. but it's personalized because I watch and I see what happens with friends, and and just in the news in general, and listening to people and knowing what people are going through, and the whole issue of mental health, and what people are going through, and what is not recognized, and sometimes until it's too late, and we get extreme where someone has either killed someone, killed themselves, or something else, totally shut themselves out of society. So so it's a sort of gleaned from the experiences from a lot of different people in our own, and my own and our own as family, growing up. And then when it came together, and watching and thinking about the film, and that's what gave me the idea that we could do more with the film than just promote it as entertainment. And as I finished, we have a teaching guide that Deb, my wife Deb, as you said, she's a licensed social worker, and she co-authored it, and we put it together. It's a teaching guide with worksheets on viewing the film.
Fantastic.
And it focuses on the focus areas are, of course, mental health, drug and alcohol, self-esteem, self-worth, and self-esteem, I'm sorry, same thing, childhood trauma, and family dynamics.
We're seeing now a little bit of the film itself, and there's some of the actors and actresses that appeared in the film. That's beautiful, the way they were able to put that up there. And it is a really, like I said, engaging, well-done film, Nate. You did a great job. And all these are local actors. That's another thing I really like about it. Local talent, I should say. Yes, indeed. Yeah.
That's the trailer.
That's the trailer itself. Okay. Yeah. And I noticed just in that trailer alone, we saw people drinking, and that always has something to the dimension, and and being able to stage it. I also like your writing style, because you always, like a good writer, you have the twists and the turns.
Yes.
And you had that aha moments, like what, that kind of thing. That's a good.
I sort of like to like to do that.
Let me mention this real quick, just to get off the bat, because I do want to mention Terry. She goes by Terry D. Terry Washington, who is my stepdaughter and Pat's daughter, and
my niece.
And your niece. There you go. And she has 3 books out now, and she's done a great job.
But 3 hardcovers.
Yeah, 3 hardcovers and 2
ebooks.
Ebooks. That's right. And so the last one that just came out, what's the name of it, Pat? Is
Tomorrow's Aftermath.
Tomorrow's Aftermath. And I just want to mention that because Terry also is doing great work, and she's a really good writer too. And she's talking about possibly maybe making it into a play or a movie or something like that too. So one day you guys got to hook up and maybe you can give us some pointers,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, she has a big following out there amongst the women's groups.
Now that you mention it, I'm going to hit her up on Facebook.
There you go. There you go. But I don't want to lose your train of thought, but that hit me, and I said, let me say that before we forget. But Terry D is her name, and that's the name that she goes by in her books, and she has some really good stuff out. So anyhow, go.
Yeah, and much like with what you do with the Writers Workshop, Nathaniel Gadsden's Writers Workshop, we're not here just patting each other on the back, but much like what you do, I remember earlier days when you started and we were there, that it wasn't just about you or just about me, that you were providing a platform for others.
That's right.
So one of the things that I'm always open, you mentioned a play that was just recently at the Christian Performing Arts Center, and I met the lady who produced that, and she at her church, and she asked me if she could call me and ask for tips or whatever, and I said always open to that. And so I hope to connect with Terry, and maybe I can work with her on bringing one of her stories to film, to a play or to a play. Or to film, however she sees it.
Have you ever thought about doing, and I hope that you do, quite frankly, think about doing something for young people, or even for anybody, that's just anybody, like maybe a week-long or month-long workshop on either writing or film producing or plays or something like that, where, not let young people in the summertime, they're looking for something to do, and to have that week-long workshop that you would conduct, I think would be fantastic, man.
I love to get together and find a way to, to put that together and work with some others in the team.
Well, we have our church building, and it's always open to you, man. Let me know if you're ever interested.
Hey, I am. Okay. I'll tell you that. Tell you that right now.
Sure.
That I am, and I think not think, I know that's absolutely a great idea. And you know, and my little philosophy and contribution to what's going on in our communities, it's about alternatives. And if we help young people foster the talents that God gave them, and that they belong to, you know, they look to belong to something, and understand they can belong to their own talents. They already belong to something.
Yeah.
They belong to this community, to mankind. They belong to, you know, to what God has provided. And if we can help them to foster their talents, then perhaps they're not looking in that other direction.
And you know, by you being a long-time school teacher, principal, you know, you're working for yourself, you're a writer, and you've done a lot of things. So when you think about it, one of the things I noticed about you is that you have immersed yourself into the skill-building part of it all. So some people write a play, they write a book, whatever, but you actually read the textbooks on this stuff, which would bore me to death. But anyhow, but you do it, man. You put yourself into it. So you never just do a movie. You actually study the craft.
Right.
Talk about how important that is to bring something like this to life. Because when you spoke at the end of this production, and just the things you said about how you made this come about, I thought was so educational. And it was like, wow, you know, I mean, and then you even said, I'm not sure I'd do this again because it's a lot of work, but you did it. So talk about how important that is to do the background work.
Right. Whether you're writing a book, a stage play, or film, you know, I look at it in three parts. First of all, God gives us just the talent to do these things, and that's the art of it. And a lot of us are out and we're involved in the art of it. Then we realize, or we should realize, that there are particular structures, particular things that happen, and how to put together a stage play, and how to look at this story, in any story, whether it's the three that I mentioned, a book, a stage play, or a film, that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And then in studying and listening to others who are involved, I say I went to a no film school. In other words, I didn't go to film school, but you learn, and this internet is a wonderful thing. You have access to a whole lot of research. And so you have the art of it, then you have to learn the craft. And realizing that, say for example, this film, yes, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. But then to every scene, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. The tension builds and all those kinds of things that have to happen. And then and when I really dug down deep, it's not so much a formula as it is of just a structure to the plot points of film. And then I learned it, and then went and started looking at some movies that I had seen before, and I started seeing it over and over and over and over again, and to say, well, what makes them different? Well, what makes them different is the art of it. But the structure, there are a lot of similarities because it's how a story unfolds. And then the third part, which you really want to get to, if you want to either prosper yourself by making money off of it, or you're trying to prosper a cause by making money to go to a cause, then you got to learn the business of it. And that end of it, I'm still putting together and learning.
I got you.
You know, but at least the art, and then the craft, and learning the craft. So there's some things that people might want to take themselves to school on.
Fantastic.
Let me ask you this, getting back to the different forms. And you have your plays, you've had a number of plays. Now, those weren't based on any book. You didn't write a book.
No.
So you had to write script. Now, when you're doing script versus having a book or a novel or something go from, what makes that different for you in putting that together? Oh,
in terms of when you base it on, say, a book, or when you just put it down.
Go straight to that.
You know, I went back to my foundation, because I know a lot of, you know, we have a tendency when we write, and new writers, that we think that everything is stream of consciousness, and then we put it out, and you know, and then we find out how terrible it is. And we really think that, you know, it's the editing that's really important. We edit ourselves, and we get others to edit. And I've learned to outline more. And that doesn't it doesn't constrain. I've had some discussions where that constrains me. No, write your story down. I mean, you know, whether you're writing it by hand or whatever, just write, let it flow, and put the narrative of it, but then outline. You know, it's like building a house. You know, you don't build a house without plans. And I went back to, I say, my foundation in composition. I'm teaching students how to write, and they write outlines. You get them to outline some way to structure it. And one of the first things that I actually write down when I do a play or film is I write the ending. You don't know how it's going to end. And I talk to people, oh, I don't know how it's going to end. I said, what? You're what? How many pages in? You know, you're 110 minutes into your film. You don't know how it's going to end. You have a problem. But yeah, that's that's some of the techniques that I try to employ. Is that and I recommend anyone else at some point after you've written out whatever your idea or whatever, come back and structure it, outline it, figure out how you're going to end it. And then go back.
I've used that technique so many times. You said that years ago to me, and I remember thinking it's like a light bulb going on. Right the end first. That's the only way you can really get a real story out. I like that.
How's it going to end?
Yeah, how's it going to end?
What's the outcome?
And then you can weave it up to that point.
You can weave it up to that point.
So what's on the horizon then for you, the next big project?
And one of the things that I really had to do is slow myself down, because I have so many things in my briefcase and ideas and things written down and synopses and all that and stories that you just want to move to the next. So I really am going to take the time to market this to colleges and other places and market market this. Just as I say that though, I'm looking at 2018 for Shake Shop, but in terms of film. This film, and I won't even go into it, but this film, a sequel popped out at me. Okay. And it was not planned to have a sequel, because, you got to have a sequel. Not necessarily the story is the story. So I'm sort of working on that. However, I do have a couple other things that I'm trying to figure out what's next in terms of the film, So one of those is going to go. So almost like, well, what gets finished first?
That's it. There you go. And this is, I really love the fact that you use local talent and that brought people out the whole bit. But I look at your storytelling ability, and you're a talker anyhow. I mean, you really, and so you tell a story well. So I was thinking to myself, man, what would happen if you took the same project? You got some top-notch Denzel Washington type of who else? What's her name? The one that just won the Oscar, the lady.
Viola Davis?
Viola Davis. Come on, man. You get some of them acting out some of this stuff.
Yeah. Woo. First of all, I'd be a multimillionaire to be able to pay them.
Or they would just do it gratis.
They would do it gratis.
Yeah, right.
Are you listening? Mr. Washington, Ms. Davis.
Yeah.
I am reaching out to Broaden, and this is no disrespect to any of the talent.
Absolutely, sure.
Here, because very few of the people in this, and this is, I know when you said you saw it, you liked, what was going on, and very few of the people in this have much experience in film.
Sure.
At all, So I am looking to broaden horizons by attracting the next project that I do. I'm going to be looking to do fundraising, investments, and doing my own fundraising through Kickstarter or Indiegogo. So I'm going to be looking to broaden out, and I've learned to shamelessly appeal to those who are watching. If you're interested in getting involved, I'm going to invite you. I'm not begging for money. I'm inviting you to join into something that we can tell some stories together, and anyone who has the access to raising those kind of funds, want to invest in something. I put together business plans for all of my projects, and I'll be glad to sit down, because that's what I'm going to be doing with the next film, so that we can reach out to talent and bump the talent level up to experience, while those who have worked with me can work in minor roles to continue to gain experience.
Or just gain experience and become professionals themselves. Because I'm telling you, the actors in here, at Joy Hyman and some of those, all of them, they were really good.
Yeah.
And so, I would go to see them, I'd pay to see them, let's put it that way.
And I'm encouraging those folks and other folks in Harrisburg to go get some training.
That's right. Get the training.
Go get some training. Get acting classes. You know, there's some folks locally are doing some acting classes, but also get out to meet new people. Get out to Philadelphia, Baltimore, D.C., New York.
Well, that's something else you've done. I'll give you credit for that. You have done just that. You have gotten out of, you know, the Commonwealth and taken yourself up to the Chicagos, Georgia, and various places to really spread and see what else is going on.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up Nathan, our son Nate, who worked with you in many projects before. And I remember Nate was flying back and forth to New York all the time and doing some other things. And I forget the young lady's name, but I see where she's on some major stuff.
Shafana Thompson.
Yes.
I'll mention Shafana's name. Shafana blames me for helping to kick her out of Harrisburg. But Shafana taught for a long time. She was in Hamilton Street. She was in the Wrong Hes Done and some other projects with me. And we used to talk about, she's in Redemptive Goodwill, the short film. And we used to talk often about what she wanted to do. And Shafana finally made the move. She's in Atlanta. She's been in Atlanta for a few years. And we are actually, we've been kind of working on a project together. She's trying to produce in Atlanta. I did it, she came up with. You know, and Miguelina Cedeno. Who was in The Girlfriend. She wrote and produced the play The Girlfriends that played here and in York. And Miguelina went back and she's in Hollywood now. And as it were, we just talked because over the past 6 months, we've been working on a project of hers, you know.
You got to mention your son, you know, Chris Wilson there. Chris is out in,
Chris.
Talk about him.
Chris, who, real quickly, Chris, who graduated from J.P. McCaskey High School, but also in Harrisburg. He was born and came up here to 4th grade and went on to play football at the University of Pittsburgh, graduate. Went on to go to law school at UCLA, graduate,
and to the NFL.
Well, I'm sorry, I missed the NFL. I missed the 8 seasons in the NFL. But law school, and now he's at UCLA Film School.
Working on some projects.
Working on some projects. So he's out in LA in film school.
Love to see his work sometime. Good stuff. So, well, I'm interested in your book that you put together, you and your wife Deb, and like I said, we do training for Pinnacle Health Spiritual Care, and we train the chaplains, assistant chaplains, and have wonderful classes too, in fact. And this would just be a tremendous addition to have them go through the workshop, the book, to understand what depression looks like and despair, and family dynamics too. All of that. So this is real good stuff, man. So congratulations for all you've done. We've run out of time here. We're down to a minute. But if anyone wants to contact you, if they're interested in your work, wanted to talk to you, how can they reach out to you?
I can be reached at by email at Nate.Gadsden, name spelling, I think they have it on the screen, Nate.Gadsden, the numeral 1, at gmail.com. Nate.Gadsden at gmail.com.
1 at gmail.com.
Nate.Gadsden1 at gmail.com.
Man, thank you so much. I want to thank you all for watching and hope that you will continue to watch this program. Continue to support this young man over here for his great work. And we'll see you next time here on Life Esteem. Goodbye.